and we are rolling. I haven't actually made a video sharing my PCOS story journey here on YouTube. I've spoken about my own personal PCOS journey in podcast interviews. I haven't really spoken about it here on the channel, and just kind of opened up, shared my story, shared what I personally did also to reverse my PCOS naturally, and explain exactly what I did, which can be as a kind of support and guidance and kind of inspiration and empowerment. But I want you to remember that we cannot replicate someone else's approach, because our circumstances are different, our situation, our hormonal issues are different. We're completely different people as well. We're all unique, so we cannot replicate someone else's diet lifestyle and hope that it will work for us. Unfortunately, that just doesn't work. So yeah, so I'm going to be sharing my PCOS story, my journey from start to continuously doing to present day, to reverse the symptoms, keep the symptoms at bay, thrive in life. So before we get into that, let me just introduce myself to anyone who's new to this channel. Hi, my name is Despina Pavlou. I'm a certified personal trainer and the founder of PCOS Oracle, where I talk about all things PCOS and how to reverse it naturally. For example, just like in this video. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into the video. Before I speak about my own journey, my story, I want to just backtrack a little bit and, for people who have just been diagnosed with PCOS and are wondering about, what is PCOS? Because if you're like me, when you were just diagnosed with PCOS, your doctor said you have PCOS, you're thinking, what is PCOS? Well, PCOS is short for polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's a complex metabolic and endocrine condition. Now, what most women focus on when they've been diagnosed with PCOS, like I did myself, was to focus on the high male hormones. How do I lower my testosterone? And it's understandable. We're experiencing all these male kind of symptoms like hair loss, hair thinning, the male pattern baldness, excess hair growth, so hair on the face, chest and back. It's understandable that we focus on trying to lower the testosterone. And also because we've never been told by doctors that this isn't the focal point. We have to delve deeper and find out what's actually causing the high male hormones. The issues that women with PCOS face is excess estrogen, low thyroid, which is leads to slow metabolism, low progesterone, and stimulated adrenals. So here's the thing, estrogen mimics the shock phase of the stress response. So estrogen and progesterone essentially work to balance each other out. Progesterone keeps estrogen in balance. So when there's a progesterone deficiency, when there's low progesterone and it's unable to counteract the effects of estrogen, it can lead to suppressed thyroid, so low body temperature and low pulse rate, blood sugar dysregulation, the breakdown of fatty acids, and tissue for energy, the inability to store glycogen in the liver, and high blood pressure. The thyroid turns cholesterol into pregnenolone and then into hormones DHEA and progesterone. But unfortunately, when the thyroid is suppressed, it's unable to make progesterone, which has all these important benefits. It's anti-estrogenic, anti-androgenic, it's prothyroid, it's anti-inflammatory. So as I mentioned, estrogen mimics the shock phase in the stress response. So estrogen irritates the adrenals, causing them to pump out DHEA. So adrenal glands produce stress hormones and male hormones like DHEA. And essentially, the body begins producing these male hormones, these androgenic steroids, in order to counteract the negative effects of having too much estrogen in the body. It pumps all these male hormones out, because they have the anti-estrogenic effects progesterone does. So these androgens rise in order to protect the body from estrogen, but also is protective against chronically high levels of cortisol. So when the body is compromised, when the thyroid isn't fully functioning, and when the adrenals are revved up, they're dictating to everybody what they should be doing, then you're just running off and producing cortisol, aldosterone production, and it's just creating even more progesterone deficiency, even more estrogen, and you're experiencing all these issues associated with estrogen dominance, which ways to be lowering estrogen through supporting the thyroid, through supporting liver detoxification, blood sugar balance, which I'll be delving into soon. Now let's get into my own PCOS story, my diagnosis, and where it all began. So I'm going to break down my personal story, so this might be a little bit longer of a video, so get comfortable, get pen and paper if you want to make notes, go get a snack. So let's get started. Let's start from the beginning. Okay, so my period came when I was 13 or 14, so I guess a pretty common age to get your first period. My periods were pretty heavy, pretty painful. They just, I was never looking forward to my next period. And as everyone is probably told when they're growing up, is, period pains and heavy bleeding, it's all normal, it's fine, you should just expect it and just deal with it. So every month, the only way to kind of make my periods bearable was to take some painkillers and hot water bottle. Hot water bottle really saved my life numerous times. So yeah, until I went to college and things began to change. My diet changed, my lifestyle changed. That's when I began to notice things weren't right. And so during this period when I started college, things were pretty stressful. Like many of you who are probably going through college can relate. It was a stressful time, and things were just going on in my personal life, in just college life. It was stressful. Now looking back at that stress, I'm pretty much thinking that was a breeze. But anyway, so I got super stressed, and then I got really depressed, and I began overeating, emotionally eating, and my dietary choices changed as well. Growing up, I was, I guess, lean. I was always athletic. I used to play football, or soccer as you call in America, and just a lot of sports. So I was very active as a child until the age of, I guess, 16, when things began to take a turn. Combine those two, you're gonna obviously cause some issues. I gained some weight, and then I noticed that my periods were becoming even more irregular. I was skipping constantly. Every month I was skipping. So they became irregular, and I started breaking out a lot. My hair was becoming kind of thin and was falling out. I knew this wasn't right. So I decided to go to the doctor, to my general practitioner, my GP. And when I said that I had irregular periods, he did other tests on me. He weighed me with my blood pressure, asked me some other kind of medical questions. And so he said, we need to do a blood test to check your hormones and ultrasound to check your ovaries. So we scheduled that in, did my blood test, checked my hormones, got the call back. I had high testosterone levels. I don't remember the other kind of test that he mentioned, I just remember that. And I had multiple cysts on my ovaries, which looked like pearls on the scan. So I had PCOS. So I went back to the doctors with this diagnosis, sat there, and with my doctor, and was looking for, you know, what do I do to fix this? Like, what is this? Like, did I do this? Did I cause this? Is it treatable? Like, what does this mean? I was so confused. And especially when you read up on all the symptoms, the fertility, the irregular periods, and all the the risk of cancer, diabetes, it was like a ton of bricks had just fallen off. So, you know, I went for a whole range of emotions: upset, angry, confused, just shocked, just everything. I went through everything in that minute of sitting in that chair and hearing him say that. So I said to him, so what can we do? And he said, well, there's not much we can do, but here's the birth control pill. And then, here's the kicker. When you want to conceive, you can come back and we can discuss what you want to do. Wow. And, you know, looking back now, you'll think, it's like that advice is awful, no solution. And you just, obviously at that time, 18, I wasn't looking to conceive, so I wanted a way to fix this. So I took the birth control pill. I took it for 15 months. During those 15 months, I tried 2 different types. I tried the first one. I just did not kind of sit well with my experience. I experienced all these kind of symptoms and side effects, mood swings, bloating, water retention. Yeah, it wasn't the best. So I went back to the doctor and he switched the combinations. I can't remember exactly how he changed it, like what the hormone levels were, how it was different. But I tried that one and that was even worse. So I decided to go back on the first one. I was also experiencing panic attacks. So, you know, during my whole time on birth control pill, I was experiencing panic attacks. And the other thing I experienced that made me want to come off the birth control pill was the swelling of my left calf. And obviously I was freaked out by that. And, you know, I looked at the leaflet and the pamphlet on the birth control pill, did a bit of research, and one of the kind of side effects was, you know, thrombosis, blood clotting. So I was like, no, I'm out, I'm tapping out. So I stopped the birth control pill after 15 months. Didn't consult my doctor, which maybe I should have consulted. You know, I wanted to search for a second opinion. So I found an endocrinologist, which is pretty much a specialist on hormones. Went there, he told me that it's fine to have 4 periods a year and just set me on my way. So that was a waste of money. I did take the advice of, you know, lose weight, cut carbs, because everyone was talking about it when I was looking online. So I thought, if everyone's banging on about it, this must be how I'm going to do it. And, you know, I did gain some weight when, like I mentioned, so I was so fixated on losing weight that I was restricting my calories, very low amount of calories. And I was over-exercising and I began to lose weight, and I just became fixated and obsessed with losing weight and exercising and cutting my calories, to the point I was just trying my best to just keep lowering the amount of calories. And this kind of behaviour obviously led me down to an eating disorder. And then I decided to go to a gynecologist who pretty much gave me the same standardized advice. So I thought, you know what, I don't want to take pills. I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to do my own research. I'm going to understand my body. So I just spent hours upon hours reading and researching and studying. I looked at studies, journal articles, stuff from nutrition, and, you know, textbooks, listening from experts in the field. And I just spent time doing trial and error, trying to better understand how everything works in the body. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we shouldn't be focusing on the high testosterone levels, on the high male hormones. We need to delve deeper. And there are 5 components that we need to focus on to support hormonal balance. These 5 components are thyroid, liver, the gut, mineral imbalances, and blood sugar balance. So I've got my trusted whiteboard here, and I'm going to kind of break up the sitting down on the chair. I wanted to speak through the 5 components that I had to address and continue to address to keep those symptoms at bay and to just not experience those hormonal imbalance symptoms. So before I get to the stuff on the board, I want to just emphasize that when it comes to hormonal balance, these components are key, but it's about diet, nutrition, supplements come in there. Lifestyle things include exercise, sleep, and stress management, essentially, doing things that can help lower your stress levels. So those come within diet and lifestyle, and to address all these things, we can speak about those 5 components. So let's start off with the thyroid. So throughout the video, I've spoken about how women with PCOS have low thyroid function, which slows down the metabolism and causes low body temperature, low pulse rate, cold hands and feet, constipation, bloating. And when we have low thyroid function, we are not converting the cholesterol to pregnenolone and to progesterone, which is a super important hormone. So how do we support our thyroid? Well, number 1, eat every 3 to 4 hours and make sure you eat enough. It's commonly, you're told that we should follow intermittent fasting, and intermittent fasting is in some way something I did follow. I did do like a 16-8, so 16-hour fast, 8-hour eating window, but this puts so much stress on the body. It causes, when we don't feed ourselves, when we don't nourish our body and eat every 3 to 4 hours, it causes our body to go through a process called gluconeogenesis to get glucose. Now this process is very stressful and highly inflammatory on the body. Cortisol levels rise to break down tissue like muscle, organs, connective tissue. That gets sent to the liver to be converted into glucose. The mitochondria, which acts like a furnace, turns that into ATP. So we need to be eating every 3 to 4 hours, eating enough, avoiding excessive workouts. So again, we're told to exercise more, to lose weight, and we're just constantly, told to follow this eat less, exercise more kind of approach. Exercise lowers thyroid hormone pretty much by stimulating their breakdown. So cortisol produced by stress inhibits the thyroid gland. I recommend exercising between 3 to 4, 5 times a week, and between 30 to 45 minutes, no longer than 60 minutes. So avoid excessive workouts, eat protein and carbs. The body needs protein for the thyroid to function optimally and to make its hormones, and carbs. So in the liver, in order for T4 to be converted to T3, the active thyroid hormone, there needs to be glucose. Finally, avoid PUFAs, unsaturated fat. These are polyunsaturated fats. I spoke about polyunsaturated fats in my Foods for PCOS video, but these inhibit thyroid function, lower blood sugar levels, and unsaturated fats block sugar from getting into the cells, and they also overload the liver. Pro-estrogenic as well, so they're pretty much a no-go. You want to swap your PUFAs, your unsaturated fats, for your saturated fats. These are pro-thyroid, pro-metabolic. Moving on to the liver. So as I mentioned, the liver needs glucose to do its over 500 plus functions, to convert T4 to T3, and proteins, your anti-inflammatory proteins like found in gelatin, bone broth, fish and eggs, to detoxify estrogens. So when we have excess estrogen, we need to make sure our liver is functioning optimally to detoxify, because our liver is the major organ that's involved in detoxification. So if this is affected, then we have issues. We have estrogen being reabsorbed, recirculated into the body. So that's the second component. Component 3, blood sugar balance, which I've pretty much been touching on here in the thyroid. But we need to be combining protein and carbs together, not just eating protein, not just eating carbs, because carbs will obviously, when it's not combined with protein, can spike blood sugar levels and insulin. Protein can also do the same. It can spike insulin if carbohydrates are not eaten with or immediately after. We can have a spike in insulin. Eat regularly. Again, eating every 3 to 4 hours can maintain blood sugar balance, so you're not going too long without eating, causing low blood sugar levels. We want to maintain a healthy blood sugar balance. Avoid PCOS. Again, like I said, they inhibit sugar from entering the cells. Number 4 is the gut. We're going to be working on our gut health. This kind of goes in line with the thyroid and the liver, because a low thyroid can impact the gut, and also a gut can impact the thyroid, so it kind of goes both ways. And we want to be supporting the gut for the liver, so everything gets moved nicely into the digestive system to go to the liver to be detoxified. So things that we can do to help with the gut health, to help with detoxification, to help with binding of endotoxins and estrogen, to eliminate them into our stool, is to have carrots. They have a unique fiber that binds with endotoxins and estrogens to shuttle them out to be detoxified. Mushrooms also have similarities with carrots and bamboo shoots. Like I said, everything really works together here. And finally, mineral imbalances. Now, minerals are super important. Enzymes, minerals, they kind of can affect hormonal balance. So we often focus so much on balancing the hormones, but imbalances in minerals, in vitamins, in enzymes can cause these imbalances in our hormones. So we have to be addressing these mineral imbalances. So how do we get minerals? How do I get our nutrients? Well, through whole foods. What are whole foods? Whole foods are foods that have been minimally processed and are generally free from artificial flavors, substances, preservatives, etc. So, what are some whole foods and foods I recommend? Well, again, check out my 10 foods for PCOS, where I talk about some highly nutrient foods. For example, the liver, nutritional powerhouse right here. Tons of vitamin A, vitamin B vitamins, choline, magnesium, iron, copper, eggs, gelatin, bone broth, shellfish, fruit. Tons of nutrient-dense foods. And the other thing I want to stress is don't take every single supplement said to be great for PCOS. Now, like you, when I was diagnosed, I thought I had to buy every single supplement, so I was trying everything, and I thought it was working, but it was just pretty much a waste of money. When you take a supplement, if you take it in, it doesn't work on its own kind of thing. Everything works together. So there's certain supplements that can be beneficial, and they certain nutrients, certain minerals that we should be kind of focusing on, vitamins and minerals, and they include vitamin E. See, vitamin E can protect our cells from PCOS. In addition to vitamin E is vitamin A. So these two vitamins are needed to help support the thyroid to convert the cholesterol into pregnenolone, into progesterone. And like I mentioned in that Foods for PCOS video, we want to be getting preformed vitamin A, which can be found in foods like liver. In addition, we also need light and we need copper. Now, copper keeps iron in check. We don't want iron overload, so a lot of people tend to take iron, but here's the thing: we don't need iron. A lot of our food and our water is fortified with iron. We're actually in a state of iron overload. So ways to get copper is through shellfish and liver. So with copper, we need retinol. We need vitamin A. Without vitamin A, copper cannot become cellular plasma. So these three vitamin E, vitamin A, copper, magnesium, calcium, and vitamin D. So first off, magnesium. Magnesium synthesizes with progesterone to help regulate blood sugar. It also helps with sodium retention. Following a low sodium diet causes deficiency in magnesium, and so by including more sodium in our diet, we can help balance out those minerals and minimize the stress. But also, magnesium deficiency can increase inflammation and can also stimulate the parathyroid gland to release parathyroid hormone, which increases the absorption of calcium but also removes calcium from the bones. Secondly is calcium. There's so much to say about calcium, but when the cells become stressed or de-energized, they lose magnesium and they lose potassium and take up sodium and calcium. Now, when cells are stressed, it can absorb the calcium, but too much can inhibit their energy production and intensify the stress. Now, in addition to magnesium stimulating the parathyroid gland, releasing parathyroid hormone, a deficiency in calcium can also cause this to occur. So both of these can cause stimulation H. So when PTH rises and bones are broken down, releasing calcium, taking up too much calcium is actually associated with inflammation and degenerative diseases. Parathyroid hormone actually also increases interleukin 6. This is an inflammatory marker which is often high in women, which research shows can be high in women with PCOS. So the parathyroid stimulates interleukin 6, which breaks down bone for calcium, and calcium levels rise. So we want to make sure that we are getting adequate amounts of calcium so the body doesn't need to break down the bones to get calcium. Like Dr. AP explains, PTH, like estrogen, inhibits cellular respiration, activates glycolysis, lowering the ATP level, shifting the metabolism towards the production of lactic acid, and rather than carbon dioxide. So through activating glycolysis, we are converting glucose into lactic acid even in the presence of oxygen. So pretty much what to be occurring is that oxygen restrains glycolysis, so glucose gets turned into carbon dioxide rather than being turned into lactic acid. You want to be producing carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is what supports the cells. So a diet high in milk and fruit and meat can help provide you with tons of calcium and magnesium. But you've probably heard that there's other ways of getting calcium instead of from dairy, like leafy vegetables, which are also a great source of magnesium, but leafy vegetables are often high in lead and contain other toxins, and can cause other digestive issues when consuming too many fibrous vegetables. So by having dairy products can be a great way to get your calcium and other vitamins. A last mineral that I want to add to here is salt. Now salt, you might be a little bit worried about salt, but salt is actually good. Salt increases the metabolic rate of the cell. It helps lower adrenaline by regulating metabolism and blood sugar levels. So when we are low in salt, deficient in salt, cortisol levels rise. So by adding salt, we can actually lower the cortisol, lower the adrenaline. It also increases carbon dioxide here. As I mentioned here, the anti-inflammatory proteins, we actually want to be avoiding inflammatory amino acids like tryptophan, cysteine, histidine, and methionine. Now with tryptophan, this is a precursor to serotonin, and serotonin We actually think this is like a good hormone, but it's actually not, because serotonin increases inflammatory markers like estrogen. It also downregulates the metabolism. Excuse my writing. I'm just trying to speed this up. But downregulates metabolism, and it also increases cortisol. And as we know, with cortisol, when cortisol levels are high, it can break down muscle and lead to an increase in estrogen, because estrogen is pretty much in every cell of our body now. So this will end up increasing estrogen. So moving back to tryptophan. So tryptophan is an inflammatory amino acid. Now, tryptophan is an essential amino acid because we can't get it. We don't make it, we have to get it from our diet. But the amount we should be consuming is a lot less than what we're actually consuming, because it's highly inflammatory and it can inhibit thyroid function. Tryptophan also mimics estrogen, so again, we want to be minimizing the amount of estrogen we want to minimize the amount of estrogens we're exposed to. So that's everything I want to touch on the whiteboard today. So that is everything I personally did to reverse my PCOS symptoms, balance on my hormones. I supported my thyroid, liver, blood sugar, gut and mineral imbalances. And then with the lifestyle stuff, now a lot of people don't find sleep to be a priority, but it really is. So I was really focusing on sleep, making sure I was getting between 7 to 9 hours of sleep, getting to bed between 10:30, 11 p.m. the latest, and making sure I was getting good quality sleep, creating a good sleep hygiene schedule where I was, switching off all electronics, switching off blue light to help me fall asleep, magnesium helping me to fall asleep, and just working with my circadian rhythm, which obviously not too exercising in the evening, because with the whole circadian rhythm we want to cortisol levels rise, and then during the day they start to dip until at night time. In the evening cortisol levels are low, so you can fall asleep. If we're exercising in the evening, then we're shooting up our cortisol, because exercise is a stress at the end of the day. It's stress, so it increases your cortisol levels, and that's going to impact you for falling asleep. So that's pretty much everything I did to reverse my PCOS symptoms and balance my hormones. I hope this video did inspire you, empower you, and shed some light onto what you could potentially be doing to support hormonal balance. Maybe you're doing some of these things that are creating more stress and and inhibiting thyroid function and not supporting you to balance your hormones. So I hope what I've spoken about has helped you. A take-home message is just to be patient. I know it can be tough to be living with these symptoms. It's not easy, I understand that. It can affect your confidence, self-esteem, but you have to be patient. Just like PCOS doesn't happen overnight, treating it and balancing your hormones doesn't happen from one day to the next. Be patient, be committed, and don't expect things to be perfect. It takes trial and error and understanding things. You're gonna make mistakes. We all make mistakes. If you would like some, one-to-one support, some accountability, personalized approach, a plan to help overcome your PCOS, then I do offer one-to-one online coaching programs and consultations that you can check out, and we'll work together to overcome your PCOS and balance your hormones. So check out the link in the description box down below, and we can schedule a call and chat about how we can work together to help you overcome your PCOS. So thank you so much for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to give it a like, comment, share the video, and subscribe for plenty more videos.